A esta hora te conectas a una sola radio. Este es el sistema de emisoras Onda Digital en Colombia. Radio virtual, hecha por jóvenes, pensada por universitarios. Sistema de estaciones Onda Digital, un concepto diferente.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast named Diaspora, where we talk about migration. Our third episode today is going to be about music across the world in the United States. So my name is Zabib Naguse, International English Teaching Assistant.
My name is Juliana Caraballo, international student here at UCC Medellin.
And my name is Enrique Cuellar, an English teacher here at the university too.
So today we're going to be first talking about how and why foreign music has increased in popularity in the United States, because that's definitely something that I've noticed recently. Even the past 2 or 3 years, a lot of different genres I've been starting to hear more on the streets, in the clubs, from my friends, and it's been a really interesting topic for me.
Definitely, because also some of those genres actually are Afrobeat, Latin music that includes reggaeton, salsa, merengue, bachata, and also K-pop, which I'm really excited about to talk about that one. I'm a little bit biased about that one. So definitely I wanted to start with saying, especially that one about K-pop. Recently, a newspaper from Puerto Rico, El Vocero, published this article that it was about a recent K-pop concert that happened in Puerto Rico. While I was here, I want to cry because of that.
Sorry. That sucks.
But it actually has a very interesting fact, and that is that K-pop is year by year increasing in popularity. Right now, 46% of the people that were tested in 26 countries said that Korean music is actually really popular where they live. So we are seeing that there's an increase in foreigners, and that is also like immigrants from the United States, because the United States has a real big amount of people that are Latinos, African American, and Asian people. Mm-hmm. So I got
a question about that. That
mm-hmm.
music is in Spanish, it's in English, it's in Korean.
Sir,
I don't know.
that is in Korean.
Korean.
I just said Korean music.
But wait. It is in Korean, but they do use a lot of English in their songs.
They use a lot of English in it, yeah.
They do, and that's interesting because last episode we were talking about language, and English is obviously very dominant globally, and it's interesting they're turning to English to become a more popular global brand or genre of music.
They use English. Even Spanish artists use English in their music to enter the American market. That is the whole purpose of like singing in English. It's mainly because of that, because usually people see the United States as, if you get into the United States market, you're going to be the biggest deal ever, you know? Yeah. So you have to get a little bit of those English words so you can attract a little bit more audience here and there. So that is actually more a strategic way of making music. Especially, I was talking about actually with Sabine yesterday about how the Grammys are a big example of how languages are getting mixed and how we're trying to include different groups of people in a huge event. But I think we can discuss that a little bit further on, because otherwise I'm going to get a little bit personal there.
Riled up.
I'm going to be, no. So those increasing popularity, have you seen Afrobeats getting popular to be? Because actually that song with Selena Gomez and Rema, song is still there. It's still going on and on and on.
It's crazy. Even when I heard Calm Down by Rema, who's a Nigerian artist, I believe, in Colombia, I was so shocked. I was like, wow, this is really a global song. Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting that Selena Gomez getting on that song made it even more popular because she's an American artist, more or less. And it's just interesting to think about when we think about all these artists incorporating English lyrics or incorporating or singing their songs in English. Do we think that they're Americanizing their music to an extent in order to be appealing to these audiences? Do we think they're changing how the music is in order to make more money?
I think that also has to do with mixing genres.
That is the special thing about this, like a complete topic, because mixing things, it's a very good way to like being like catchy, yeah, or to get a very good of people, yeah, that listen that kind of music, because maybe if there are not only one rhythm in a song, yeah, it could be like better for all the people that listen that kind of music.
Because people in America, when they listen to K-pop, they hum the Korean lyrics, and then when they say English, they yell the English lyrics, and then they continue humming that, like that.
Yeah, but that is also a way, that is more of a strategic way to get into the whole American market. But mixing genres is a really huge deal right now. Like, for example, in Puerto Rico, there's this artist that is called Eladio Carrión, and he made a whole album that was trap. But that is not like, if you listen to it, you will realize that there's trap from everywhere. Like, he mixes American East trap with Latino trap, and you're like, wait a second, what is going on? And other artists that are not from necessarily the United States are mixing those. For example, Raúl Alejandro is another artist from Puerto Rico that he, in his case, he made this song that became really popular. I think he sang it in, I don't know, if I'm not wrong, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy. It was one of the Jimmy's shows because there are like 3 in the United States. That song was called Todo de Ti. And that song was so popular back then in the pandemic, because in the pandemic, one rhythm that was getting really popular was retro pop. You know how many people made songs with the retro pop bass?
What can you describe retro pop?
Like retro, I don't know if it's called retro pop, but retro is like
music from the 70s or something like that,
exactly.
Or 80s.
Yeah,
okay.
that kind of melody. Yeah, you know Dua Lipa Physical or Dua Lipa's Don't Start Now.
Yeah,
those type of songs, those are kind of that retro vibe.
I don't know too much about this, but I think this is very catchy, because there are those artists are trying to like be like very open mind. Yeah, they are trying to do things that maybe are not like done right now. Yeah, they aren't trying to like doing research about what they do. Yes, they are trying to invest time in things that maybe people never have done before.
Exactly.
And that has actually been a whole hit. Like, Latin artists have mixed a lot of type of music. Like, they're mixing pop, they're mixing reggaeton, they're mixing a lot of things to also appeal to different audiences.
Yeah. And other types of music mixing examples, you said trap and reggaeton. I would also say drill. Well, trap is from like Atlanta and drill is from like Chicago. And when I listened to this reggaeton song recently, I was like, this sounds like it could have been produced in Chicago, you know? And I would also say pop songs these days from the United States are mixing Afro beats in them, and they have a very unique sound. But one opinion I have is that I was listening to reggaeton songs from the early 2000s.
Oh, girl, that's the best era reggaeton has ever had.
The golden era. And I swear I was hearing like Indian or Middle Eastern beats in some of the songs. And that was really interesting to me because it really added a different layer, a different texture to the music, but it still kept the original reggaeton beat. And it just made the song sound so cool to me.
How does it feel being in a pub or discotheque, listening that music, or I don't know, dancing that kind of music that has a lot of like different beats, different
Let's not get
sounds.
into how people dance different songs here. Like, I've seen so many things.
You sound traumatized. Are you okay?
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
Well, it's just that every type of music has a different type of dancing, right? And how come are you twerking to calm down? What is that? Yeah, that is so against my culture. Like, that is actually kind of an insult to me. No, I'm just kidding. But when you listen to this other type of music, you know what? Actually, I remember one thing, and that is, you know, Quédate from Bizarrap and Quevedo. That song became really popular, and I think it was last summer. And that song is actually kind of pop, synth kind of music. But when you listen to that in a club, people are so hyped up and they sing the whole lyrics to it. And that's when you see like you can connect through music too. For example, Bizarrap and Quevedo, if I'm not mistaken, they're both from Argentina. Ellos both son argentinos. And that is actually a really fun fact. Like, we dance to people that are Puerto Rican, that are Colombian, because Karol G, the queen of the moment, Miss Girly, is from here, from Medellin. And then you have also Bad Bunny, you have Marc Anthony, which is Puerto Rican too. So it's a really good way to share a culture and to show more of how that mix in the United States, that immigrant percent is really present there. You know, in the United States, there are clubs for every single genre. Sibi can confirm that.
I can.
She can. Like, there's the clubs for salsa, merengue, bachata. There are clubs for reggaeton, clubs for trap. But then, I don't want to sound negative, but why are we dividing your country? You know? For example, an example of what I'm trying to say is that, you know, Grammys, Billboards, they have the regular Grammys, which are usually American pop artists, and they also have Latin Grammys, Latin Billboards, American Latin VMAs, you know? So it's like, why is the media dividing those huge groups from the United States? Because let's be real, United States is a country that has a lot of immigrants in it. It is built by immigrants. So why are we trying to divide those type of events? Why cannot be all more inclusive? You know?
Like talking about music in general, not like a specific like rhythm or...
Yeah, because you usually don't see a rock artist in the Grammys.
Yep.
Neither in the Latin Grammys. You don't see reggaeton people in the Grammys either. Like, you get to see that then maybe they invite Beyonce, they invite Bad Bunny, they invite The Weeknd, but they're not getting recognized for the job. They're putting them in there just to be like, hey, we're including you in our performances. Like, we're including you in our presentations, you know? So it is a really controversial kind of topic there, but what I'm trying to say is that if you have a lot of immigrants that live in your country, why you have to divide them? The point of music is to unite people, because the music is a really universal language. No matter, it doesn't matter. The language is the artist is singing in, you'll get to sing to it. Despacito. You know how many people from the whole part of the world?
So crazy.
That song was wild.
Saying that without knowing what
it's saying.
I remember when that came out in high school, my friends and I would play it all the time. It was a way for me to try to learn Spanish.
Right,
I know. I was like, that means slowly. I didn't even know that it meant slowly.
Yeah, despacito means slowly. Yeah.
I learned that.
And another thing, Gasolina is another song that
God.
Globally
so
was
big.
wild. I think that song was before I was even born, but that song has a lot of impact. And you put Gasolina at any part of the world, and people will sing it without even knowing what they're saying. Like, she likes gasoline. What do you mean, man? Like, what are you trying to say? But in Spanish, we're like, a ella le gusta la gasolina, you know? So it's a way, music is a really good way to unite different cultures and make more together these groups that feel left out, if we're going to be real.
It is. And also, music is a wonderful way to learn languages, to learn slang, because through Despacito, when did it come out? When I was 16? It was so long ago. I was looking up the lyrics and I was learning what these different verbs and vocabulary meant in Spanish. And I know my students do that for English as well. And it's just such a fun way to learn a language.
Despacito was already 6 years ago. Oh my
The
God.
same happened with English, yeah? When we listen English music, yeah, sometimes we can learn words, verbs, phrases, yeah, in English, because we like what we listen.
I think there's this one Fade song, Chorrito pa las animas. And
Ah.
I was like, I had no clue what that meant. I was like, what is chorrito? And someone was like, do you know what animas means? And I was like, oh, like animarse? And they were like, no, Zabib, that's so wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And then they explained, like, pour one out for, like, spirits, like ancestors or something like that. So I thought that was a really cool instance.
You know
music.
what? As someone who speaks Spanish, I didn't know what that meant either.
Oh.
No.
It's a very...
But that is also because he's from Colombia and I have never heard that. I know chorrito as a sprout, as like a water... Like...
Yeah, like dropping.
Como chorrito es como un chorrito de agua. Eso es como una parte finita
But it's like
de agua.
that. It's just a little bit of something.
Like
yeah,
trickling.
you drink a little bit of something.
Exactly, it's a little bit of something liquid. Yeah. So definitely, you know what? Actually, now that you're bringing that up, you actually made a point yesterday that was how people listen to a song to learn a language, and then how people listen only for the rhythm and not for the language. So that can be our last topic, because it's still on our script, girl. So we gotta talk about it because you brought it up.
Well, like that people listen to people listen to songs just because they like how it feels and the sounds and stuff. I definitely do that with music all the time. It doesn't matter to me what they're saying.
I don't understand what they're saying in Korean. I still bop to the song until the very end.
Right?
But maybe you focus in those words, in those meanings, you can learn a little bit about that language too.
Yeah. Especially, at least I listen to a lot of Korean music. I do not understand anything about what they're saying, but when they say a word that I know, I'm like, oh my god, I'm so proud of myself. I finally understood what you're saying. You're saying something with water. You're saying something with hi. You're saying something with love. So it is a really fun way, and it also sticks to you more, because music, how come can we learn a song in less than a day and we cannot learn a whole exam for the day after? How?
True.
How, Miss Girl? How?
True.
That is...
And it also explains why Korean is so popular. I mean, it's not a very big country. Like China is a much bigger country, but people want to learn Korean about the same or even more than Chinese these days.
Not to be patriota here, but Puerto Rico is this small. It's a really small country, and you know how many artists are from there? Okay.
1 million.
I rest my case. But this definitely is another way to see migration as a positive thing, and how music can help us learn a new language and a new culture and get us all together, because the music is a universal language. We all hope that you've actually enjoyed this episode. Remember to follow Onda Digital on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which is the radio station here at Universidad Cooperativa de Colombia, sede Medellín. So we hope, again, that you enjoyed the episode. Thank you so much. My name is Juliana Caraballo, international student here at the university.
My name is Zabib, best professor ever.
Period.
And Enrique Cuellar, English teacher here at the university. I hope that you enjoy this podcast.
Thank you so much.
Bye, y'all.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
A esta hora te conectas a una sola radio. Este es el sistema de emisoras Onda Digital en Colombia. En Colombia. Radio virtual, hecha por jóvenes, pensada por universitarios. Sistema de estaciones Onda Digital. Un concepto diferente.